to the future, past to the future, yeah, past to the future. Never stop, never. Hello, everyone. I'm the Prime Commander, and welcome to this review. We're going to be talking about the newly announced Thundercats line by Mattel. It's I guess starting out, my overall thoughts are, what is this? What's the point of this? It's hard to get my head around it because Super 7 is doing their Thundercats line. Um and they're offering them in both scales. We're getting, the normal large scale 7-inch versions as well as the Mattel Origins line. And then now Mattel is announcing a line that I guess is going to be in the 6-inch range or again another 7-inch range. Who knows? And 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 I mean it's just confusing. As somebody who collects the Super 7 line, and I have most of them, thankfully, once I get the Lunatics, I'll be done. I think there might be a few odds or ends here and there. I'll be done, and I'm thankful for that. As a matter of fact, I just got in Cat's Lair, which I will try to review sooner rather than later. I'm trying to, branch out to the other things as well. So I love the Thundercats. I'm a big Thundercats fan. I do welcome another line, but I'm still just overall very confused about what this line is supposed to be, who is it for, and also some of the design choices. So let's sit back. We're going to go through each one of the images that was provided and shared across the internet today, and I'm going to give my thoughts. The first figure up for review is a Lion-O. And I was a little bit confused when I first saw the picture, but it didn't take long to realize that you're able to create the original, more traditional version of Lion-O. But it looks like the Mattel Lion-O is going to come with some extra accessories and some extra little bits, in order to give them that Masters of the Universe feel. And I like that from a creative standpoint and as a merging of the lines, because everybody that has, that generally is a Masters of the Universe fan, they do have some type of affinity, for Thundercats because it's one of the few cartoon lines that really had some similarity and, to Masters of the Universe. And there's always where fantasies and discussions about the Sword of Omens, versus. The Sword of Grayskull. And so, it's just being able to see these lines finally come together is very interesting under one banner. But I'm very confused as to what the scale is going to be. I mean, I really wish this was happening in the Origins line because I collect Origins, and I'm not a fan of the Masterverse line. I have most of the classics, so I'm not really interested in building another 6 or 7 inch line. And besides, the scaling was so weird for them. And I think that's also an issue, that I'm looking at here observing Lion-O is that, his arms are super long, which is ridiculous. I mean, I don't even understand that or what they're going for with that particular look. Is this, I guess they are going to be a Masterverse line, which is a 7-inch line, which is very annoying because Super 7 is already making a 7-inch line, and it looks like we may get more at retail since they had the few that showed up at Target, the Lion-O's. So really confused about what this line is, especially considering that Super 7 is also making an origin scale Thundercats line. And while I'm very much so interested in that, I'm annoyed with the price point on that. So I'm very curious about what this new line is going to be, what the scaling is going to be, what the cost of each figure is going to be, and just seeing how far they go with it. Just from this general observation, I'm not 100% impressed with Lion-O. It's something just about the way the hair sits on the head, and it's that gap on that left hand side that facing that really just looks awkward and disgusting from the images that they've shown, and the harness that they give them, the Masters of the Universe inspired harness, and the shoulder protector, whatever the heck that thing. I hate that thing. I like it. I like things to have some type of symmetry to them. So when you only have one shoulder guard and not two, that always annoys me. It's just like what is that? It's disgusting. I mean, maybe if you lead with that, then you would only have the one. But either which way, I hate seeing just one. And he has the one band. He needs two bands, and he needs two shoulder guards. But I do like that you are able to build the traditional Lion-O, even though this one comes with a bunch of different accessories to make him more in the style of a Master of the Universe figure. So let's just see. I think that I know I probably won't be able to help myself, and I'll probably at least get one of these, two at the most, because it is Lion-O, and prayerfully it'll be better when it comes out. Let's just see. But as far as looking at the Lion-O here, I'm not super impressed. Again, the long arms, it looks in a way a little bit cheap, cheaper than the way I think Masterverse, despite me not being interested in the line, I think some figures, or the general observation is that the figures have great designs and of really good quality. I do own a few for different purposes. Not that I collect the line, but I do have a few, and I think that the sculpts were all really good, but I'm not impressed with this line though. If it's in that scale, it's supposed to go along with Masterverse. What I'm looking at here looks subpar. Next up is the Mumm-Ra and Skeletor hybrid. Um, Looking at this, I think that it was a good choice to make it very plain that this is, and clear, excuse me, that this is a Skeletor Mumm-Ra hybrid. If Lion-O was supposed to be mixed with He-Man, I'm not really seeing that. I mean, he does have the one gauntlet, but even the shoulder guard, I just don't see a lot of a mashing of both He-Man and Lion-O. But with here, it's very deliberate that it's a mashing of Mumm-Ra and Skeletor. So I think the best thing about this is actually the Skeletor. I think that the hood and the horns on Skeletor, as well as the skull head, I think they're all really good. The only drawback is that I just don't like the neon green for each one of them. I think that they should have been the base bone gray for both the horns and for Skeletor's head. I find Mumm-Ra lacking. He already is going to suffer from the fact that he has that ridiculous body type. It's like an ape-like body, and again, another horrible design choice. When they brought back, Thundercats on Cartoon Network. Great cartoon, just horribly designed characters, but a fantastic cartoon. And Mumm-Ra was one of the worst. He had these really long ape-like arms, and he was almost like hunched over with this big body and tiny legs. Like, it's just weird. It just was not a good design for Mumm-Ra, and it's always a shame when those things happen, when the designs are poor, but the actual writing of the show is actually really, really good. And that was, Cartoon Network's Thundercats. Again, getting back to Mumm-Ra, I hate the hard plastic cape. It looks ridiculous. That will, if I get one, I'll definitely need to replace that. This is one where if I get it, I know better, and they got my money and they did not deserve it. I'll say that openly, because I'm really not liking this figure. But I'm such a Thundercats fan, it's going to be hard not to get the essentials, and just for the uniqueness of it and the fact that this is the first true merging of the lines. So I might get all the core characters, but I'm not really excited about any of these. And Mumm-Ra is another one that's really lacking. Just sad that they can never just get it right. Now we have Chitara, and Chitara actually looks good, I think, in both her Masters of the Universe inspired accessories and what the base figure will be in looking at or realizing a more traditional Chitara figure. I think that she's the best between her and Lion-O and Mumm-Ra. Even though I think the design is simple, and I think we're getting a nice image here that will probably not look as good as it will in person as it does in this promotional picture here. But I do think that the The new hair accessory is really decent. I think that it's a great new addition, as well as some of the little features, including the chest harness. Just really, really good. I really do like this Chitara, and I know that I'm going to be picking one up. And so I think she fares better, and it looks like she has a regular base female body. If she has if she's misproportioned, like with the long arms or a pin side head, I'm not really seeing it from this promotional picture. She looks well proportioned, and so that also adds in her appeal versus the other one. So Chitara actually looks good, even though her Masters of the Universe inside inspired accessories are just a few. I think that they are really effective in really bringing a uniqueness to the character. Now, and I saved the best for last because regardless of whether or not this figure has an ape-like body, I mean, it actually works in their favor. Where you could imagine, because of the beast-like nature of Battle Cat, who is the last reveal. I mean, Battle Cat is amazing, and I think for anybody like myself, who's a longtime Masters of the Universe fan, having grown up with that property since it first came out in the early 80s. We've always imagined what would Battle Cat be like if he had a more humanoid form, sort of like 3030 from Brave Star. If you could transform Battle Cat from, your riding beast into a, competent, cognitive, man beast warrior, whatever you would call him, because, he would almost, evolve in intelligence, even though, you know, Cringer and Battle Cat could talk. But either which way, I think that they just did a fantastic job here. Again, where he might be misproportioned, it works better in the character's favor. Because again, even though we've never, unlike the other ones, which is Lion-O and Mumm-Ra, we know what they look like. We know how their proportions should be. With Battle Cat, this is the first official release of the character in a humanoid form, and so him being a beast, you can get away with some of the proportions looking differently. So I'm completely fine with that with this character, even if he is not in scale with Origins. I'm going to be buying him to use with the Origins line because I want to do storylines, not just with wrestling, but with the Origins figures, superpowers, lots of DC stuff, and also some of the live action things. Like I want not I'm just not only going to do wrestling, but I want to fantasy storyline, a lot of different properties, and with using the figures. So this Battle Cat is going to be used with Origins anyway. I'm super excited for it. I think that it's just designed perfectly. I love the armor bits and the helmet. I mean, he just looks fantastic. This is a complete A plus for me. I've longed to have a Battle Cat figure, and you know what? Maybe this will inspire Mattel to create a humanoid style Battle Cat for the Masterverse line, because I think that if they do it and they give it a really nice decent sculpt to go along with the better parts of the Masterverse line, I think that people who are Origins fans will also, sorry, not Origins fans, but Classics fans, I think that they'll pick it up as well to put it with their Classics figures, even if they don't collect the Masterverse line. And who knows, it might actually even go well, even better than this one with the Origins line. So either which way, I'll take all the humanoid Battle Cat men. Yeah, this is just so decent. This was a pleasant surprise. This is something that, when a company has an older property and they're trying to think of things to keep it fresh and relevant, but we're seeing a phenomenon here. All of us old men that are still collecting and salivating over these properties while we're going into our 40s and 50s is a unique phenomenon in, the history of the world. But, when you look at it and you think about it from a business standpoint, it is very interesting in how these companies can continue to try to be creative to give us what we want while also trying to extend the line. So I do, I understand how they have to play with us a little bit, because they're trying to extend the life of these things. But I appreciate when they hit something with all cylinders fired, giving people what they want. No games. This is awesome. So I guess overall, I'm just happy to have this Battle Cat man, or whatever you would want to call him, or just Battle Cat. The rest are still questionable, but we'll see. We'll see what they do with this line, and where it could go and what it could mean for merged properties in the future.
Dun, 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 dun. It's amazing, quite amazing, the adventures that we share.